my loves, and welcome to Boston. Today we are trying the 5 most popular foods in the city at the most ridiculously expensive prices and the cheapest to see if we can tell the difference. But first, we need to set some ground rules, okay? We're not just visiting restaurants that throw caviar or gold leaf on a dish or make it like a jumbo giant version of itself or upcharge just because it's in a fancy hotel. No, these are normal restaurants selling normal products at different price points, okay? I want to compare apples to apples. It's for science. Also, studies have shown that people tend to derive more enjoyment from foods that they perceive to be more expensive, even if the objective qualities are the same. And a man just handed me this balloon, so this is besides the point. Will my brain be tricked by a price tag today? Let's find out. It's time to eat our way through Boston. Let's go. All right, fam, we're starting with one of the most controversially expensive foods around, lobster rolls. Because historically in Boston, lobsters were so common that they were considered poor people food and only served to indentured servants and prisoners. And lobsters were actually so common that they were used as fertilizer. But now that the lobster population has actually plummeted and demand has risen, lobsters are a symbol of luxury and wealth. And one lobster roll can set you back $50. So let's see if it's worth it. For the cheapest lobster roll in the area, we've driven about 20 minutes down the North Shore to Quincy for the Lobster Stop, where one lobster roll is only $15 and it comes with chips and a pickle. And the staff is so nice. Bun looks nice and buttery, nice and toasted. The lobster looks really well seasoned and kind of creamy, but we won't know until we try it. Cheers! That's a great lobster roll. It's giving lobster salad. It's got like some crunchy celery. It's very light, a little bit sweet. The lobster is pretty tender. And yeah, I mean, the bun is really soft with like a little bit of a crispy crust, very buttery. Delicious lobster roll. No notes, really. It looks like they fry these chips here. I mean, look at how seasoned. That's a beautiful chip. Wow, so crispy, thin, a little bit sweet, tangy, a hint of spice. That's a great chip. And you know what we gotta do, obviously, is we gotta put our chip in the lobster roll. Is this sacrilege? I don't know. If it is, sue me. Cheers. The crunch of the chip adds the perfect texture. It adds a little more like salty, seasoned flavor as well. Really no notes. Pickle's great too. Really tangy, really sour, really crunchy. The lobster stop is delicious. I don't know how it's gonna get better than this, but we'll find out. And did you even come to Boston if you didn't try clam chowder? Now, this humble fisherman's stew originated right here in New England when French and British settlers decided to combine these locally abundant clams with potatoes and onions and pork, and clam chowder was born. And honestly, did you even eat it? If you didn't eat it with oyster crackers, did you even try it at all? And I think it's only fitting that the cheapest clam chowder is actually at the cheapest lobster shop in Boston. This bowl was only $6. Great deal for fresh clam chowder. The oyster cracker, essential to the stew. Just a little garnish. Cheers. Wow, that is rich, so creamy, but a nice like amount of acidity to kind of cut through it. And with the crunch from the oyster cracker, that's really good. The clams are really tender too. Potatoes are nice and soft. I feel like it might be good with a little spice. Is that crazy? Wow, it's just so smooth and so rich. Yeah, I mean, that's delicious. The potatoes are so soft. Oh yeah, it's got a nice amount of like tangy, lemony acidity too. Delicious. The lobster stop, amazing. On to the next. And for one of the most expensive lobster rolls in Boston, we have come to Back Bay, which is one of the bougiest neighborhoods in Boston. It's known for these beautiful Victorian buildings. It's right next to Boston Commons, which is this massive 50-acre park that used to house British troops during the Revolutionary War, fun fact. There's a lot of high-end shopping. It's fancy, okay? And for our seafood, we are heading to Saltie Girl, which is this trendy woman-owned seafood restaurant, which I actually heard has one of the best lobster rolls in the city. So let's go see if it's worth the price.
As you guys know, I am constantly traveling and eating for work, so when I'm home, I love to save as much time as possible and eat simple, healthy meals at home, which is why I'm so excited that the sponsor of today's video is Cook Unity. Cook Unity simplifies how you eat by delivering signature dishes from award-winning chefs from top restaurants straight to your door. They're delivered fresh, never frozen, and they're ready in minutes. Today I am trying Chef Miriam Milord's Ghanaian chicken peanut stew with sweet potatoes and rice. It smells like savory, like peanut butter, and it took 2 minutes to heat up. The sauce is so rich and creamy. There's also over 300 different weekly meals to choose from for every dietary need. Like this week, I'm also trying Chef Andres Menendez's chicken tikka masala and Chef Chase Evans's chicken shawarma rice bowl. Cook Unity basically eliminates the need for grocery shopping, meal prep, or dishwashing, and it can actually be cheaper than grocery shopping, especially for individuals living alone. I also love that the meals arrive in these compostable, recyclable packages to maximize sustainability. So you can click the link in the description or the QR code on screen and use my code Carissa50 to get 50% off your first Cook Unity order.
The famous lobster roll at Saltie Girl was definitely a bit more traditional. It was less of a lobster salad and more of just seasoned lobster meat on a buttered roll. There was a decent amount of lobster. It does come at market price, so the price may vary, but today this lobster roll was $45, a whole $30 more expensive than the roll at Lobster Stop. I don't think there was a whole $30 more lobster on it, but I do think the meat was slightly more tender and a little bit plumper, and the bread was also very buttery, very soft in the middle with a nice toasty edge. Honestly though, I think I prefer the lobster salad experience more from the Lobster Stop because I'm not much of a lobster purist, so I prefer more seasonings, more sauces, more added flavors, and Saltie Girl's was definitely simpler. For chips, they bring you these Saltie Girl salt and vinegar potato chips, which obviously are not fried fresh, and while they are very crunchy, very tangy, very salty, I think I prefer the seasoning on the Lobster Stop's chips a little bit better. They just had more flavor. But you already know we gotta add the chips to the lobster roll. It elevates the entire experience so much, having that salty little crunch. And it's only fitting that the restaurant with one of the most expensive lobster rolls in Boston would also have one of the most expensive clam chowders. This bowl was $14, but they give you a lot more chowder, like at least twice as much as the Lobster Stop. So if you take that into account, the price difference isn't very much at all. And while the Lobster Stop's clam chowder was a bit more acidic and lemony, Saltie Girl's chowder has a very bacon-forward flavor. It basically just tastes like bacon soup. Also very creamy, and the clam meat was pretty fresh, although I do think the clam meat was a little bit more tender at the Lobster Stop. And okay, I heard Saltie Girl's chocolate chip cookie was incredible, and this does not affect my ranking at all, but I just had to try it. It was $8, and they used this fancy chocolate from Venezuela and the Dominican Republic and this fancy sea salt from England, and I loved the crispy crust and like that brown sugary flavor. But personally, the chocolate was a little bit too bitter for me and not sweet enough. It's definitely a more elevated cookie. Like if you prefer a more sophisticated bittersweet flavor, then go for it. And that was Saltie Girl. Honestly, I think you're paying mostly for the ambiance, which is lovely. It's in a very trendy, popular area of town. The decor inside is like whimsical and charming, and the staff was equally as lovely as the Lobster Stop.
And now it is time to enter the front lines of a culinary civil war, a clash of cannolis, a battle of Boston cream pies. The rivalry between Mike's Pastry, Modern Pastry, and Bova's Bakery is legendary and has been going on for generations. So today we will be trying one Boston cream pie and one cannoli from each location and declaring once and for all the cannoli king of Boston. Mike's Pastry has been around for 74 years. The founder, Michael, moved to Boston's North End when he was just 12 years old, straight off the boat from Italy, where he learned to bake at his cousin's bakery and fell in love with cannolis. The Modern Pastry shop is actually even older than Mike's. It was founded in 1930 when the Picariello family came over from Italy, of course, and to this day they still practice 150-year-old world baking methods to perfect their perfect cannolo. And if you can believe it, Bova's Bakery is actually the oldest of them all, founded in 1926. Antonio Bova was also from Italy, of course, and would famously go door to door asking people to try out his freshly baked bread and then come try out the bakery if they enjoyed. Ranking the best pastries in Boston. Mike's and Modern Pastry is already winning because Bova's uses plastic packaging, which is so out, obviously. Mike's is definitely the biggest, and Bova's and Modern looks pretty similar, but Mike's was also the most expensive. It was $7. Bova's and Modern were both $5 each. I also heard Mike's is a bit of a tourist trap, but I don't know, maybe it's great. Cheers! The shell is like really crispy, really crunchy. There's a lot of chocolate. The chocolate chips are delicious. And I mean, the filling is sweet, but not too sugary. I like it. Tastes like a good cannoli to me. Next up, Modern, which I keep hearing is the best, so we'll see. The filling is definitely sweeter and smoother. I think the quality of the chocolate chips is better. This shell isn't quite as flaky and just like delicately crunchy, but the filling is so sweet. It's almost like a frosting or something. And last but not least, Bova's, which I do think is the smallest, but maybe it's delicious. I don't think this one was filled fresh. I did see them all sitting out there in a line, so honestly, the shell is the worst on this one just because it's like slightly soggy. It still has a little bit of a crunch, but it's not flaky or like really crispy. The chocolate chips are decent. The filling is by far the least sweet on this one. It just tastes a little bit older than the others. Next up, Mike's Boston cream pie, which is also the most expensive at $9, but it looks so fluffy. Also, fun facts about Boston cream pies, they're not pies. They're clearly cakes. But back when Boston cream pies were invented, the term pie and cake was actually kind of interchangeable, and the name Boston cream pie just stuck. Cheers. You guys, the chocolate ganache on top, well, it's supposed to be chocolate ganache. It's more of like a frosting, but it tastes like brownie batter. And the sponge cake is so moist, and I feel like the cream is really light. The whole thing is just so soft. Yeah, that frosting tastes exactly like brownie batter. That's really good. And Modern Pastry actually has a Boston cream cupcake instead of a Boston cream cake, which is so cute. And it was only $5.50. Cheers. The sponge cake is really like fluffy, not quite as moist, but I prefer the cream because it's really sweet and fluffy. And the chocolate ganache on this one is a little bit more like ganache. It's very like dark chocolatey rich. Also delicious and cheaper. And you guys, they made this Boston cream pie fresh for me at Bova's. I asked if they had it. She said no, but it'll be ready in 30 minutes. I said period. It was $6 and look at this. I mean, it's gorgeous. Also, Boston cream pie is the state dessert of Massachusetts, so I feel very state-triotic. Cheers. I'm getting pudding vibes, especially the chocolate on the bottom. I mean, I think it is literally pudding. And the ganache on top just tastes like a richer version of the same chocolate pudding. The cream is very smooth, but again, it tastes like pudding out of a cup, which is delicious. Don't get me wrong. The cake is also very spongy and light, not quite as moist as Mike's though, but yeah. It's good, it's very sweet. After consulting with the expert, Chris, behind the camera, we have a definitive ranking of cannolis. I mean, it's easy. Bova's, I'm sorry, you're in the last. Your crust was just too soggy. Mike's is in second place. The crust is just a bit harder. It is very crispy, but by far the best crust, the sweetest filling, the most delicious is Modern Pastry cannoli, okay? Cannolo. And all the Boston cream pies are just so different, so it's difficult to compare them. After a second taste, the chocolate on Mike's is a little bit grainy, so I might go ahead and agree with Chris that Bova's is the best chocolate cream pie. And then I think maybe in second place, I would put Modern's cupcake. And in third place is Mike's, still delicious. Overall, after much debate, the cannoli king of Boston is Modern Pastry. Congratulations! You did it. We're taking a break from the regularly scheduled programming where we compare expensive versus cheap things because I also got a giant lobster tail from Bova's Bakery. This does not affect the ranking, but I just really wanted to try it. So it was filled fresh as well. Cheers! That might be the most flaky, like most buttery pastry I've had that I can remember in recent history. Look at the layering on that. I mean, whoa. The cream is so light too. It literally just dissolves in your mouth. That's delicious. That's the winner right there. I also heard that Modern's chocolate cake was the best thing on their menu, so I had to try it. Again, this does not affect the ranking. Cheers. It has a very strong, like bitter aftertaste. I feel like they used a lot of espresso powder or a lot of cocoa powder. Interesting. Not my personal favorite chocolate cake actually, but not bad. And that was a commercial break. Back to the scheduled programming. And while lobster rolls might be the tourist favorite sandwich, here in the North Shore, we eat roast beef, baby. The history of the roast beef sandwich dates all the way back to 1951 when a hot dog stand called Kelly's was left with several whole roast beef after a nearby wedding was canceled. And they just decided to stick the roast beef between two burger buns and the rest is history. So we're starting with the OG. Now, I actually hear that Kelly's gets a lot of criticism for franchising, but they invented the three-way. I gotta try it out. Also, they were the most expensive super roast beef sandwich I could find for a whole $12. Let's go see if it's worth it. What we're looking for is for the beef to be sliced paper thin. It's gotta be rare. And for the three-way, it's got American cheese, mayonnaise, and James River barbecue sauce. We also want the bun to be very buttery. Honestly, she's a girthy girl for $12. That's a lot of meat. I'm a little bit scared, it's a lot of meat. But I'm excited. Cheers. Whoa. Wow, the beef is actually so tender. It just like pulls apart when you bite it, kind of like a brisket vibe. And I don't know if it's a seasoning on the beef itself or the barbecue sauce, but it's got some heat, kind of like a peppery spice. The bun is pretty soft too, and it does have like a little bit of a toasted buttery crust inside. That is not bad. And it doesn't taste like a fast food sandwich, so even though they franchise, still quality in my opinion, so far at least. That peppery seasoning on the meat is so delicious, really salty in a good way. This is the only one I've tried so far, but it's delicious. Totally worth $12. Look at the amount of meat. Totally worth the price. Totally. Kelly's, bye. And for our cheaper roast beef sandwich, we've come to Mike's, which has been a staple in Everett since 1984. It actually recently sold to the Wynn Development Company for $5.5 million. But the original owners continue to operate it under a lease agreement, so the beef hasn't changed, the prices haven't gone up, it's still the same old Mike's. Let's get a roast beef sandwich. All right. We're back in the car, and we got Mike's roast beef three-way for $9. What a steal. It does not have as much meat, like one side is heavier meat than the other. It's got the James River barbecue sauce, it's got the American cheese, and it's on an onion roll. Pay more for the onion, you know what I'm saying? Cheers. Yeah, that's fire. The beef is cooked through a little bit more, so it's slightly tougher. It's still pretty tender, but it doesn't have quite like the pull-apart quality that Kelly's had. I do love the onion flavor of the bun, and it is really soft. But the meat quality at Kelly's, so far, I'm partial to. It's good, it's decently tender, but it also doesn't have that like peppery seasoning that I really loved in Kelly's. Although the James River barbecue sauce is spicy and delicious, and the cheese is actually meltier on this one. It's a $3 difference. If you're really into the meat quality and it needs to be super tender, I'd go for Kelly's. If you prefer the oniony flavor and the meltier cheese, Mike's is also a great sandwich. And that was roast beef sandwiches in Boston. Well, my loves, we are back in the room after a long day of eating, and it's time for final thoughts. Was the more expensive food worth the price tag? In my opinion, it depends on the category. For the roast beef sandwiches, I think Kelly's was worth the $3 upcharge. The meat was better. That's what you're coming to a roast beef sandwich for, you know what I'm saying? For the pastries, we actually thought that Modern Pastry, which was one of the cheaper ones, was the best overall, so definitely not worth the price. And for the lobster rolls, it really depends on the type of person you are. If you're like a hardcore lobster lover, you just want to focus on the meat, then I would say that Saltie Girl was worth the price. But for us, I honestly preferred the more lobster salady, cheaper option more, personally. So it's kind of a toss-up. I definitely think it depends on the food item. I didn't really have a bad thing today though. It was all pretty delicious. It just depends on your personal preferences. So go try it out, go try it all. The cheaper, the more expensive, whatever you're feeling. I think at the end of the day, as Remy the Mouse would say, anyone can cook. That doesn't mean anyone can be a great cook, but a great cook can come from anywhere. In the same way that not all cheap food is amazing, and not all expensive food is amazing, but cheap food can be amazing, and expensive food can be amazing, and eat whatever you want. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This was such a fun vlog to film. I have enjoyed our time in Boston so much. We also did a dumpling crawl, which you can check out in my short form videos, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Oh, and we went to a dim sum cocktail restaurant, and we ate all around this hotel that we're staying at, the Langham, which is just a beautiful, gorgeous property. They let me bring my dog. Wait, do you guys want to see her? Okay, Peyton, come here. Come here. Hi, you want to be in the video? Come here. Oh, say hello. Are you enjoying Boston, Peyton? Peyton, wait, say hi to the video. Are you having fun in Boston? Are you having fun? Oh yeah, we also vlogged like her day in the life in Boston. We took her to a dog bar. It was super cute. Anyway, you can catch all of that in short form content, but this was such a fun vlog to film. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. I hope you have the best day ever. You're amazing, and mwah, that's all for today.